We're back.
Hello, hello. I hope you missed us because we missed you.
Of course they missed us, Julie. Don't be ridiculous. Today we are extra lucky. We have Lauren Touma with us today. She has a master's in nursing education, and after years of working in that field, decided to become a health coach. So today she's going to be sharing with us how we can be healthy and beautiful like her.
Oh, yeah. Yes. How do we look 30 when we're not?
You were gonna say my age, weren't you?
I was
She
always,
considered it.
It's okay. I don't care. Oh, too
well,
funny.
you look fantastic. And you're going to tell us the fountain of youth, the mental health youth too? Maybe a mix of both?
Well, you know what? It is a mix of both, without a doubt. I mean, I'm a firm believer in that. And that is one thing I love about the program that I do coach, is because it does have 26 different elements of health that you cover. And I always tell people, I'm not a diet coach, I'm a health coach, which means I have to take your mindset and get it as healthy as your body. I mean, anybody can follow a diet, lose weight, but if you don't change habits and you don't change your mindset, it will never last. And I think I'm a firm believer, and that's why 90% of Americans yo-yo all of their life.
Oh,
For sure.
oh, because they're only focusing on one, like they're only focusing on the mental or one
I
with
think
dieting or something like that.
I believe it's because you're only focusing on the physical. You're only focusing on, okay, I'm going to follow a diet, whatever plan they choose, whatever diet they're following, they're going to follow a diet, and they're going to have that willpower, and it's going to last so long. And then they're going to lose their weight, even maybe get to their goal, but then they just go back to their old habits because they didn't really learn any new habits. And so within the program that I coach, it's focusing on macro habits. It's focusing on, of course, weight loss, weight management, but it's focusing on mindset. It's focusing on sleep. It's focusing on energy. It's focusing on motion. It's focusing on lots of different components.
Are those the 26 components that you just mentioned?
No, those are just macro habits of health. The 26 components really start with, why do I even want to lose weight? Why do I even want to get healthy? Right. And I don't know if you've ever listened to Dean Graciato's, I think that's how you say his last name. It's called 7 Levels Deep.
I have not.
It's so powerful. You have to listen to it. But he totally asks why 7 layers deep. So if somebody says, I want to lose weight. Well, why do you want to lose weight? Because
I want to look good, right?
Yeah. Why do you want to look good? Why is it important to you? And it goes, I mean, and it really it's hard to do really in some cases, but if you can do it, it always gets somebody from, oh, I want to lose weight. I want more energy, let's say, to, because I have memories of my mom could never get on the floor and play with us because she was obese. So I don't want to be that mom. Or, I'm just using a hypothetical example, but I'm saying that's their why. Because there's that deep down thing that really makes them want to be healthy. And, maybe it is for those grandkids or the kids or whatever. But they have to be attached to that why, because we constantly go back to it. Let's go back to your why. Let's write your whys out and post them somewhere. Because if they're just going on, oh, I lost some more weight, I lost some more weight, I lost some more weight. Well, that's good. Truly, when people say, oh my gosh, I lost 4 more pounds, I'm like, that's amazing. But then I'll say, tell me some non-scale victories. What are some non-scale victories? What are some other things? What are some things that can't be measured on that scale? That's important, but it's not the most important. So then they'll start talking about, just like oh, my clothes, pants that I couldn't get into for months and months and months, I'm getting into those with ease. Oh, my knees don't ache so much anymore. And of course, being a nurse, I love it when they're saying, oh, I got labs and my A1C is normal again, or I'm no longer considered a type 2 diabetic, or my cholesterol levels way down, or, because even though liability wise, I can't tell them that will happen, I've seen it happen over and over.
Yeah.
So,
And that why that you were talking about, that reminds me of your woo-woo wang wisdom or whatever it is, Julie.
Yeah, Wu Wei wisdom.
There it is.
That's exactly what I was thinking about too. It's called a golden thread. They're I guess theory is the golden thread theory, and it goes. This is a threading of the whys, right? So basically, you keep asking why until you figure out the nugget of what the
yeah,
true reason is.
that's the same
And
thing. Exactly.
the same thing, and it goes down to like self-limiting beliefs, right? Something that I thought about myself or somebody thought about themselves. Like, let's say it's a weight thing, right? Like
Yeah.
I just and maybe the that really that kernel that little core that you think could be as simple as I just never belonged to a group because I was too fat and I don't like that
Yeah.
feeling. It
Yeah.
really could just be them something like that, right?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, so I have to tell you this because I have an 18-year-old. She was 17 when she started. She's lost 117 pounds.
Holy smokes.
But I can tell you, I've never seen her. I mean, I've Zoomed with her, but I've never, she's from Oregon. And literally from the first day I did a health assessment with her and spoke to her, to Tuesday when I just spoke to her again, it is like talking to a completely different person.
Oh, I want to know more. What
It's
changed?
just, she's, and she still wants to lose some more weight, but it's literally like her confidence level, her energy, her voice intonation. It's just literally like, she'll say, I'm no longer disgusted when I look in the mirror. Or I'm no
Oh,
longer,
Awesome.
I'm getting out there. I'm going to the gym and stuff, and I'm not embarrassed anymore. And she has a certain mountain she wants to hike. She wants to wear a bikini in Bali. She's things she wants to do, and she's 18 years old. And when you're not even doing the work, you're just there talking, helping. But I mean, they're doing the work. They're the ones following the program. They're the ones, doing all the things. But it's so impactful. I mean, you feel like you have so much purpose because you're changing a life, really, right? Because nobody likes to look in a mirror and not like what they see, necessarily. So yeah, but just
but does
mentally,
any woman like what they see when they look in the mirror?
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Everyone started the same point. At some point, all of us have ever, and I feel like men or women have walked out of the shower, glimpsed into the mirror and been like, "Oh God," and been like, I don't like that. I wish I was something else. I wish I was someone else. I wish this was bigger, or this was smaller, or this was smoother, or whatever." Right?
that's
And
all in
I
that
think it's
self-talk you were talking about,
yeah,
those limiting beliefs, right?
yeah, absolutely. Oh,
And that's
yeah.
why the mindset. Yeah, go ahead.
That's what I was gonna ask. How do you change the mindset? Like, what do you guys do?
Yeah, it's difficult, right? Because even with her, so like with people that have lost a lot, one thing I like to have them do is take frequent pictures because it helps their mind see over and over and over what they're looking like. Because sometimes when you lose that much weight and you look in the mirror, you still see the,
Oh,
Oh,
so it helps them to notice the little changes. But so our elements of health, like I said, start with with why do you want to get healthy? But then let's just say, for instance, I've recognized that someone, they're like, when I'm talking to them, oh yeah, well, I was good until the weekend, and then, oh, this happened, and I was so stressed, and I just ate a bowl of ice cream, and whatever, right? So, I'm not their mom. I'm not going to say, well, don't do that again. So it's more like, okay, so how'd you feel after you ate it? Because so a big part of it is a couple different things. If you identify, for instance, something like they're a stress eater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, if you first have to identify that, but then you have to decide, okay, do you want to be a stress eater? Do you not? And then I even start working with them sometimes about, okay, you feel stressed. So now that we've identified that feeling, we have to now replace what you would normally do with something else. So like, for instance, if somebody's used to coming home from work and sitting in the brown recliner and turning on Netflix and having a glass of wine.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
What part
But
of it should
let's
we
just
take
say
out? I don't
that's
understand. That doesn't sound
And
bad at all. I don't get it.
I was going to say, when you have kids, that probably sounds real good, right?
Exactly.
When
If I
the kids
come
are
home,
somewhere else.
yeah.
But let's just say that person's really trying to lose weight, but they're just binge watching Netflix, drinking their wine, probably eating things they really don't want to eat. But for instance, though, if that is their normal routine, well, we have to establish a new routine because they're not going to be able to come home and sit down in that brown recliner and grab something really, really healthy and their glass of water and still turn on Netflix very easily, right? Because they're not accustomed to that. They're not accustomed to that. Their body is used to turning into Dunkin' Donuts. It's used to turning into Starbucks for that frothy drink. So establishing different habits, but it's little things, even cueing, like if I wanted to listen to a podcast every day, well, then I do most days. So when I get in the car, I'm not going to just get in the car and waste my time in this traffic down here without or turn something on and learn something, right? It's the same thing with them. It's like, okay, if I want you, so we have a thing called a life book, and they can actually have the tangible book, or they can have the digital. So either way, it works. But if they're maybe have the tangible book, well, and I try to tell them, let's read it for 5 minutes a day. Don't set yourself up for 20, 30 minutes a day, because you won't. And then you're going to have shame and feel like I failed at that too. Let's just say, can you do 5 minutes? Okay, can you put it on the back of the toilet? Can you put it by the coffee maker? So as soon as you pour your cup of coffee, that's what you're going to do, is read one page in the life book, or just stop, challenge, and choose is a big thing in our program,
Stop,
and I
challenge, and what?
choose.
Oh,
Choose.
choose. I thought you said
So
choose.
choose. That would be me. Get my dopamine hit by shopping for. But it's like okay, I really want a piece of cheesecake, and I tell them, it's not that you're never going to have another piece of cheesecake. It's right now you need to decide, is the immediate gratification of the cheesecake as important to me as my whys, as my goals? And if you decide it is, then you're going to have the cheesecake. Try to eat less of it. Try to take a couple bites of it. But hopefully you'll just say no. I'm choosing, because I think what a lot of people, I get asked a lot, can I have a cheat day? I said, no, there's no such thing as a cheat day.
What? Really?
It's
Wait,
a
really?
choice. It's a choice. You're always making the choice. You're not cheating. Cheating is negative. Dieting is restrictive. It's negative. We are establishing new healthy habits, a new health plan, working with a health coach, following healthy things. So this stop, challenge, choose is more of, okay, I'm going to somebody just said, do you want a piece of cheesecake? I'm going to stop myself and I'm going to ask myself hard questions. Do I want that? Like, do I want that right now as much as I want? I'm feeling so good. Do I want to spike my blood sugar, spike my insulin, and have to take a couple days to get back into this gentle fat burn? Okay. And then challenge yourself like that, right? And then you're going to make a choice. And hopefully you make a good choice that you're happy with, but you don't always, right? And then we go into all the, it's progress over perfection. Nobody's perfect. I mean, we're not going to derail mentally and physically because we had a piece of cheesecake.
Well,
So
question about that, because you mentioned get a couple days to get back into, what'd you call it? Slow fat burning or
gentle,
smooth? Gentle.
So in my program, we have multiple programs. Okay. So we have active programs where people that are already exercise a lot because we know that we can never outrun the fork, right? But they work out all the time, but they still can't lose that last 10 pounds. Well, so we have active programs where they're having amino acids and stuff where they can still work out, but still get into a gentle fat burn, but be healthy doing it, not lose lean muscle mass. We have programs for gout. We have programs for nursing moms. We have programs for teens. We have programs for seniors. We have programs for, well, you guys, I'm sure know how rampant medical supported weight loss is right now.
Oh, like
Ozempic
Ozempic?
injection,
Yeah.
Yes.
right? So we have now partnered. I don't promote that at all as a nurse, but I also know as a nurse that people are desperate and
Yeah.
they will do what they think they can do or what insurance is going to cover or what, right? Sometimes people are just like, I'll do anything just to feel better about myself. And I can respect that and I can get on board with that. But what I also know is the people on medically supported weight loss are losing, 30 to 50% of lean muscle mass while
Oh,
they're not eating because they're not hungry, but they're not changing any habits. It's just a medicine going into them, taking away food noise for many food addicts, because that is such a thing, just like any other addiction.
makes sense to
But
me.
yet, what are they going to do when they can't take that injection anymore? Right? They're not going to have any habits in their toolbox. They're not going to, maybe they stopped eating the bag of Doritos at one sitting, but the food noise is going to come back. So we partner to hopefully get some good protein in them and stuff. But then our most prevalent programs are called the 5-in-1 or the 5-in-1 active. And basically what that means is, and I can personally vouch for this because I started coaching after being menopausal.
Oh,
And
God. I was just talking to a lady today that specializes in perimenopause, and I was like, man, it's like a big fear of mine. I'm not ready for menopause.
I can tell you when I think back and I share things when I talk to younger people, I share this all the time. But when I think back, like in retrospect, not during it, I was like lost. But at about 45, I can remember things like thinking, what is wrong with me? Like, why am I feeling like that? Oh, this is happening. Oh, I feel blah, and I see that now. But of course, it was 52, almost 10 years ago when I, hit menopause. But it was a time where everything started slowing down. And I vowed, because I had that fear of you're going to hit 50 and everybody gets a belly. Everybody stops doing things. It's almost like their life stops. Like they don't want to do anything. They stop working out. They stop, right? The kids are all gone. Who am I? Or whatever.
Oh yeah, identity
Right?
crisis.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, there's a lot of truth to that. And I was determined I was not going to be that person. So when I got to that point, what I do remember before 5 years ago, because I kept my weight off for 5 years, when I started health coaching. So I'm 5'10", Alicia, I've met you in person, but I'm 5'10", Julie. So,
Wow.
you know, nobody would have probably looked at me and said, oh, she's overweight, because I was just tall and lanky looking, but I was overweight for me, like about 25 pounds. I could feel it. So that feeling that you feel during that time just never went away. It was
How long ago was that for you?
5 years. Well, I was
5 years.
menopausal at 52, so almost 10 years, but 5 years ago is when I went on the program that I coach.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so I've maintained my weight loss for 5 years. But what happened was our program's called the 5-in-1. And what that means is you eat 6 times a day. So basically what I would do is I would wake up, I went to work at 6 in the morning. I would just drink coffee. Nobody wanted to eat at 6 in the morning. I'd drink coffee till about 11. I'd eat something for lunch, and I taught nutrition in college. So I've always been pretty conscientious of what I eat. Not that I was ever perfect, but I was at least conscious of when I wasn't eating well. And then I would eat lunch. And then by the time, the work day was done, I would be starving. I usually grab like apple and string cheese. It wasn't horrible. And then I'd eat dinner. Well, and I didn't realize I really had killed my metabolism because I didn't eat anything. And then I would eat really sporadically. So when I went on this program, I was actually eating more than I normally eat. And I remember thinking, how am I going to lose any weight? I'm eating more than I normally eat, right? But what our program is a critical care physician co-founded it. He was a director of surgical intensive care at the Cleveland Clinic years ago now. But he stepped out because he said the majority of his patients, and this is so powerful to me, probably just because I was in the medical field, the majority of his patients would not have been there if they weren't overweight.
I believe
because
that.
obesity, right? By the year 2030, 50% of Americans are going to be overweight and obese. 50%.
Wow. That's only 6 years from now.
Right?
Wow.
So basically, he co-founded Optavia, and what happens is you're eating 6 times a day, and it's basically like, if you've heard of macronutrient counting, your carbohydrates, your fats, your proteins, but doctors and nutritionists have done it for you. So 5 times a day, you're eating something that somebody's already counted for you. Only 1 time a day, then you cook. So you're learning, right? You're learning what's clean, what's healthy, what's portion control, what's high glycemic, what's low glycemic, because you're cooking. We call them lean and green meals. So you can keep it as simple as chicken breast with some avocado over a salad, to hundreds and thousands of recipes that we have, from cauliflower pizza to zucchini lasagna to one of my clients' favorite recipes is called Big Mac in a bowl. It's like the taste of a Big Mac, but it's healthy. So yeah, so there's just so many things. But what happens is when all those macros are combined, because we all have about 3 days of stored glycogen. So when all of those macros are combined, it uses up our free glucose. It uses up our 3 days of stored glycogen. So by day 4, maybe 5, usually by 4, if they followed closely, and at least 64 ounces of water, they go into a gentle fat burn, not a keto burn. You're getting as many carbs as you are proteins. So you go into this gentle fat burn, and by day 4, because I call people very closely on days 1 through 4, they wake up and they're like, oh my word, my energy level is sky high. They're organizing a closet. They feel amazing. They're not hungry. They're only hungry at that 2.5 to 3 hour mark that they need to eat again. And then they get to eat something. And then they stay in that phase 1 until they hit their goal. Okay. So whatever that means, right? It's never linear because we're not perfect. So again, that progress over perfection. But then the beautiful thing about our program is as you're doing this, you're learning all these habits and mindset shifts and, shifting when people will say like, oh, I was at this birthday party and I didn't get to have any pizza or birthday cake. And I'll say, well, you know what? Let's try to rephrase that. Let's rephrase that to, I totally could have had pizza and birthday cake. It was my choice, but I chose not to have it because of how I'm feeling right now. So that flips the whole mindset because it's no longer deprivation and scarcity. It's now abundance and control, right? It's my choice. And it really flips that mindset. And so, but then the beautiful thing is as they're learning all this from mindset to habit building to getting how important it is to get your sleep to motion if you're sitting at a desk, getting up every 30 minutes to an hour, moving around, all the things, then they hit their goal and we have transition because, right, nobody's going to stay like that for the rest of their life. So then we're adding things back in. So like, for instance, in phase 1, you don't eat fruit. Well, you guys know that fruit's good for us. Most fruit is full of antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. It's clean, it's good, right? But fruit is fruit sugar. It's fructose. So it spikes our blood sugar. That spikes our insulin. That would take us right out of this gentle fat burn. But we're going to eat
I've
fruity.
heard people say you should start your day with fruit.
Yeah. Well,
Laura,
Can't agree with
she's
that
here
one.
to say no. Lauren's
I'm
like,
gonna
no.
I'm gonna say, not if you want to be in fat burn. I'm gonna say when we transition, could you start your day with Greek yogurt and blueberries or a banana with some healthy peanut butter on it? Absolutely. So I have nothing against fruit. But if you just wake up and have fruit, your blood sugar spikes, you're gonna wake up, but you're gonna crash. Just like if you ate a Snickers bar, you're gonna crash even though you ate healthy nutrients, right? Not like the Snickers bar. I'm not comparing the two.
Oh, wait, so what do you think about juicing? Or
So
is
I
that a
think,
whole other subject?
yeah, that's a whole nother subject, but I think people juice for certain reasons, right? Like many people will juice if they have cancers and they wanna, right? And so you're gonna get a lot of nutrients. But I think ultimately, if you can eat the fruit in its full form, it's better. You get more fiber usually, right? So that's a whole nother subject. But again, I think it goes to what is the reason I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's
Okay. So, but then once they transition, then I figure out like what's your total energy expenditure, what's your BMI? Your BMI alone's worthless, but are you in a healthy BMI along with all the other factors? How are you feeling? Are you good looking in the mirror? Is this how you want to stay? And then we figure out how many calories do you need a day? And then as we transition, they'll monitor that stuff and then they just kind of learn because overall the goals of our program along with all the mindset shifts are portion control, overall clean eating, right? I mean, making good choices most of the time, not a cheeseburger and fries every day, and eating 6 times a day. You guys, to this day, I eat 6 times a day, and I literally, my phone will light up when it's time for me to fuel my body, and I don't even need it because I'm sitting here going, oh man, I'm hungry, and literally within 5 or 10 minutes, my phone lights up, and I go get something to eat.
I mean, that's
Whether
something
that's
I
Greek
can get
yogurt and
behind.
blueberries or egg
Or
white.
what are you always eating, Julie? Arugula?
I love kale. Kale's my favorite
Yeah,
thing.
that's what it is.
I love kale. I eat kale raw. I eat the stock that comes with it. I'll eat it in soups. I'll eat it fried. I'll eat it boiled. I'll eat it all. I love it.
Do you make kale chips?
Oh yeah, I made kale chips before. It just takes too long.
It does, and they fall apart. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But my other question is, it's another trend that I feel that has been really popular, and I don't necessarily thought it was unhealthy, but intermittent fasting.
I knew you were going to say
You
that.
know,
Um,
so
so
is it unhealthy then?
So I'm going to plead the fifth. I'm going to say I'm not an expert on any program but my own.
Okay.
But what I can tell you from my nursing mind, and if anybody hears this and they're intermittent fasters, I'm not knocking that. Just to me, at my age, if I fasted for that long, my metabolism is slow enough. I do Pilates 5 days a week. I take amino acids. I am active. You know what I mean? To keep my 61-year-old self active. So to fast slows everything down. Now, I do know they have some theories behind it, right? With your body systems, but I'm not an expert in it. So I don't want to knock any other program. I just know for me and for hundreds and hundreds of my own clients, and of course, clients over 20 years, 25 years, 30 years of doing this program have been successful. I have a friend that lost 195 pounds.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Program. I have a friend that lost 60 9 years ago. So I feel like, to me, the habits learned, the mindset shifts, and the way you do it are sustainable for life versus, are you going to fast for life? Are you going to eat grapefruits for life? Are you going to eat cabbage soup for life? Whatever diet, whatever trendy diet. I'm not saying the fasting, but people go on their trendy diets, right? They eat a certain
I heard a
soup.
popcorn diet once. I was like, I like that.
I'm thinking I would love that, because popcorn and chips and salsa are my vices.
Oh,
But I'm thinking from a nursing perspective. Ooh, dang, I hope they don't have any diverticulitis or anything in that intestine, and they're eating popcorn on a popcorn diet every day. Might have some pain.
Yeah, I know somebody had to go through emergency surgery and cut off like an inch or 2 inches out of their intestines because of that popcorn thing.
Yeah. It happens, and it happens, as you age. How old were they?
50.
Yeah, that's not that old, but I would say, truthfully, you guys, at age 30, we start to lose 3 to 8% of our muscle mass per decade.
What?
So if you are in 30,
No, I'm 40.
start lifting weights, start taking amino acids, start doing things to prevent lean muscle mass loss, because you will not notice it until you are older. You just won't notice it, right? Because you feel fine. You're only 30, 40, and you feel fine. And so, you want to be doing things that, another thing about our program is it has an anti-inflammatory effect. Well, inflammation is the number one predisposing factor to multiple chronic diseases, right?
yeah.
So doing things to prevent lean muscle mass loss will help decrease inflammation as well. I had a client, it's been a while back now, but I remember within their first week, they said, my knees are not aching when I wake up now. And that was within 1 week.
So you couldn't have lost enough for that to be like,
right.
Okay.
Although they do lose quickly at the beginning, because they're using the stored glycogen, and along with glycogen, it would be with any diet, because along with glycogen is water. So when you hear people say, well, I lost 5 pounds, but I'm sure most of that was water weight.
Yeah.
There is a lot of truth to that, because, right? But the beautiful thing about efficient fat burn, I'm not going to go I'm not going to knock anything, and I'm not going to go into a all protein diet
Okay.
opinion. Okay. But the beautiful thing with efficient fat burn, where you're getting enough, plenty of carbs, you have energy, you have mental clarity, you feel good. You feel good while you're on program. Like, you don't want to do something to mess it up because you feel so good. It's really amazing how you do feel. Now, obviously, I'm not in fat burn, right? But I still follow the habits. I still eat every 3 hours. I still
Oh, you come out of fat burn then? I mean,
oh yes, that's only
you
in
said
to
until you
lose
hit
your
your
weight.
goal, so I don't know how long it takes.
Well, you do pretty much stay in it until you hit your goal. So there are things we can tweak, like if somebody's so big that that's just not enough food. So, like, for instance, I hear this all the time. Well, how can my 250-pound husband go on the same plan as that 120-pound girl that wants to lose, or we'll say 150-pound girl that wants to lose 20 pounds? Okay.
Fair
Well,
question.
the answer is because we all have about 3 days of stored glycogen. So the way our program is developed is it's going to use that, and then it's going to burn fat and prevent, so it's burning your own fat and preventing lean muscle mass loss at the same time. Now, ultimately, your 250-pound husband that's maybe lost 50 pounds, let's say, and he's transitioning and he's optimizing, is going to need well more calories than you're going to need to maintain the healthy weight. Makes sense?
I need to get smaller.
During the fat burn part, they can do it because it's burning their fat. You know, same thing on the other end of the spectrum. If I have a client call me and all of a sudden they're feeling so great, they started running and they started getting on the elliptical and they're burning 600 calories, and I have to say, whoa, I got to put you on another program, because now their body's going to go, oh my gosh, I'm starving to death. I'm not getting enough food, so it holds on to the fat. So there's tweaking, there's different things we can do. But overall, they feel absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I will say the highest weight loss I've had in 1 week, and this is crazy, was 17 pounds.
Oh,
wow.
But that person had a ton of inflammation, so a lot of water weight, a lot of inflammation. So,
if Julie
that's
lost
slow.
17 pounds in 1 week, she would look,
She'd be gone.
she would be gone.
She'd be, whoop,
Yeah.
no more. She'd be eating a lot of kale.
Someone will be calling social services on me. They're like, that
Something's wrong with that girl. She's sick. She's depressed. Something's wrong.
You know what? In California, you probably can call social services on that.
oh, I know. No, actually, you know what? California, it'll look normal. They're like, oh, she should be that size.
She's
So funny.
emaciated. She looks great.
What are you doing, girl?
What are you doing? Oh, no.
Oh,
What's the secret? Oh, so I had a couple of epiphanies as you were speaking.
Huh?
And the one that you were saying, how when you said, BMI is like, if you focus at just one number, like your weight number, the number, just the number that's on the scale, or the
Right.
number that's on your BMI or number whatever, it doesn't matter. You said it's worthless. And if you think about it, you could have the most amazing, most powerful engine in your car and have all four tires flat. You're not going anywhere.
That's good. I'm going to use that one with my clients.
And then I started thinking like, oh, it's when you say all around, one's not more important than the other. Like the tires you can't pick and choose either the engine or the tire. You can't really do that.
Right.
So that was a big aha moment. I go, oh, duh. Okay. It's really inspiring me to do more things. I love it. And then the other thing that you mentioned was just talking about the, the inspiration and taking pictures every day. Because I thought you would have said, don't, I would have thought, don't take pictures every day because there isn't a difference. Or you said, take a picture often, sorry. But I didn't think that was good. But I guess if you're catching yourself or like re-teaching yourself a new image of yourself, that totally makes sense. I thought you would want to stay away from the camera for a while.
So just to reiterate, I would do that probably with a person that was very, very overweight, that sees themselves like that and can't see as they're losing. Now, with people that, let's say somebody wants to lose even 50 pounds, with that person, I don't want them weighing every day, and I don't want them taking pictures every day. Really, what I tell them, when it starts to come down to it, I'm not as concerned with that number on the scale, just like you said, with the tires flat, because I use the same thing about, like, if, okay, you had a piece of cake. Well, if you have one flat tire, you're not going to go out and slash the other 3. So just 3 hours, just 3 hours later, have something healthy. Don't beat yourself up because you had a piece of cake, right? That's where that mental health comes in too, right? So we don't shame ourselves all the time. But I do with people, like even at the end of a week, I'll say, hey, take a picture of, I always tell them at the beginning, take a close up of your face too, because usually by the end of the week, they can start to see, because inflammation's gone. So inflammation starts to decrease, they can start to see it in their face already.
Oh, no,
so it's but I do not have them know. And really what I focus on more is as they go throughout the program, and maybe they're saying to me, oh, Lauren, well, I mean, it was good. I followed everything, but I only went down like 0.8 or whatever, right? I'm like, so you went down 0.8, you didn't gain. That's awesome. Like, first of all, let's flip that mindset. But secondly, measure. Because I use the analogy, I always tell them this is preventing lean muscle mass loss, and it's gently burning fat. So if you have an apple, a healthy big apple, and you have a bag of colored marshmallows, the great big marshmallows. Well, the apple weighs more, but it takes up way less space. The marshmallows don't weigh as much, but they take up way more space. So as your body remorphs during fat burn, I just had a client text me today and say, she hasn't lost a lot on the scale, right? She got some thyroid things going on, but she goes, I'm really starting to notice my body's feeling different. My pants are feeling different. I'm feeling different, right? So even for her, so this might be something with so she loves coffee and she loves having a great big thing of coffee, and you can have coffee, but for her, she's had some other physical things going on that the doctor wants her to limit her caffeine. So she likes to have more than one cup. So what she did was she bought a smaller cup. Instead of a big cup and only getting to have one cup, she gets to pour 2 cups. And mentally, she said that has helped her so much. And so when you use little tricks like that, there's just, you're amazed at what you can do because you're getting healthy.
I have 2 thoughts. One is, I know in the mental health world, they say that inflammation plays a role in your mental health, like your anxiety, your depression, stuff like that. And then, oh shoot, I forgot the other. I got lost on that one.
Well, one thing I can speak to that, not to somewhat, it might be off a little, but when you think about, if you default, like, let's say, to your fight or flight, your danger zone, okay, we'll call it that, right? Cortisol is released, you hear the cortisol belly, right? Because you're stressed and you just can't, it makes you maintain weight. And then we've got our drive zone. That's our dopamine hit. That's where like addicts stay when they're just looking for the next good feel. But it's also like a good place. Like I get my dopamine hit by shopping, not not uncontrollably, just looking at the textures and the colors and all the things. But and then you've got your, let's say, your contentment, right, with your oxytocin. And so many times food addicts are in that danger, or I'm sorry, in that drive system. They want the feels. They're craving the biscuits and gravy because that's going to make them temporarily feel comfort. It's associated with something, or it just feels good going down, or they just love it, right? Mm-hmm. So getting that person to be able to identify what the feeling is before they want to eat something that's not healthy. So if that feeling could be stress, that feeling could be sadness, that feeling could be loneliness, it could be boredom, it could be happiness. It really could be anything, really, right? We're creatures of emotions. But until they can identify the feeling that takes them down that path all the time, over and over and over, and then shame and shame and shame. Because once that feeling's identified, now we can stop ourselves and say, what can we do? We are having that feeling. How can we do something about the feeling without utilizing food that's not healthy for us, or food that I'm going to regret eating, or going off program, or whatever, right? So there's so many psychological.
Oh, that was the other thing I was gonna say. The mind tricks. I love that. Like with the coffee, I could totally see that working for me. One silly thing, this is really silly, but I've noticed for myself that I will drink more water if there's a straw.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
The ultimate laziness, I think.
Well, it might be the feel of the straw. It might be the way the water goes down your throat instead of gulping it. It might be a lot of things. But
or
you
it might be that.
What'd you say?
I was gonna say it might be because.
Well, no one knows. You can go back to what you were saying.
I was just gonna say.
So maybe your mind, it's easier.
Oh
yeah, she was saying use the straw. You cut out for a minute, but yeah, absolutely, right? It's so certain things work for certain people that would not work for another person, right? So you learn those things. What is going to work for you? Like for my teenager that I coached, many days I would write down some affirmations, some very strong affirmations, and I sent them to her, and I wanted her to read them every day. Like, I am beautiful. I am, right? Because we start to believe what comes out of our mouth. So if what's coming out of our mouth is I'm looking in the mirror and I feel disgusting. I look disgusting. If that's coming out of our mouth, oh my goodness, right? Yeah. We start to believe that stuff. That's why I think with little kids, it's so important to make them be careful what they're speaking, or what they're speaking about someone else even, because that person could be so affected by it, right? So true. So many psychological components. And I'll show you.
This is definitely deeper than I thought.
Like, this is a life book. So it's like, see all my pages marked, but it's your path to optimal health and well-being, becoming the dominant force in your life.
Oh.
So, it goes over everything. It even goes over toxic environments. Well, that toxic environment could be a toxic person that speaks death into you all the time, to what's in my pantry that I can't, because you're not going to ask, Alicia, I'm not going to ask you to say, okay, get rid of everything bad in your pantry when you've got little kids at home, because you know that there's going to be things that they're going to eat with their young metabolisms, or they're going to have for a treat or whatever that maybe you don't want to eat. But what I tell people to do is try to get rid of the things that trigger you. So if you love, it's always Oreos, and I hate Oreos, so it's so weird to me. But if you love Oreos, well, maybe replace Oreos with something else, because you're not
About
going to be able
Dove
to.
chocolate bars.
Well, in our program, lots of chocolate,
Oh,
healthy, made with monk fruit or stevia. So you can have chocolate. There's sweet, there's savory, there's all the things. So because we are accustomed to, our taste buds are accustomed to wanting sweet, savory, right? I'm more of like, you could put Dove candy, chocolate bars, Snicker bars, and if you put chips and salsa and popcorn, I'd go to the salt every time. Because everybody has their thing, for sure.
Yeah.
My husband was teasing me the other day because we were going to the movies. Like, I guess I'll be bad and just have popcorn. I'll have popcorn. We're at the movie show. He's like, only you would call having popcorn being bad. I'm like, well, I'm not calling it bad for people. I'm calling it bad for me, because I'll eat the entire tub.
it's delicious though.
But yeah, it is. And that's another thing. You really just have to talk to people about their immediate gratification versus their long-term goals in any arena. It's not just food.
Yeah.
Right. So
And also there's a lot of studies that show there's a like 20-second delay in what you want and to change a habit. So what Lauren was saying when you said stop, challenge, and what was
choose.
it? Choose. When you're doing those things, it puts about 20 seconds before you actually reach out. So a lot
It's
of
in
the
the
time
book.
yeah. So I think what you're doing is right. And please, all our viewer or listeners right now have to Google your name, because you'll never believe that she's past menopause. Like when you people are like, what? Because what you're doing is right. Like people need to listen to you. It's Lauren Touma, Touma, and if you see her, you go, that's who I want to be. Like
You're so cute. You're
your
so
energy
cute.
and it really reflects in like your skin, your charisma, your energy, and the way that you seem like you work out all the time, and right, like
Pilates
I'm
5
a
days
huge
week.
Pilates girl. 5 days a week
strive for.
Pilates. Get that muscle. No, I do go to Pilates 5 days a week. In fact, I was having a panic attack because tomorrow I'm keeping my youngest granddaughter. And I'm like, my husband's not going to be home. I'm going to miss Pilates tomorrow. What am I going to do? Okay, I'll lift her up and down for just lift her a few
I'm
times.
sure she'll keep you running around.
Oh, she'll keep me running around, I'm sure. Gigi, can we go to the park? Gigi, can we go out to lunch? Gigi, she's 3. But
Wow, she's demanding for a 3-year-old.
she's like a little adult. Her siblings are quite a bit older. She's hilarious. But don't get me talking about them. This will be another podcast. But Julie, I was going to tell you too, if people look on Facebook I'm under Lauren Collins Touma. Touma, and under Instagram Touma_L. But my Facebook's probably more reflective of what I do because I'm old. So I mean, I'm on Instagram, but Facebook's where I started. So lots of stuff they can look at, or if they have questions, to reach out at all and send me a message and Messenger. I mean, absolutely. So love to get people healthy, for sure. So
Great.
I don't like that you said you're old, because apparently 60 is the new 50. So
I kind of feel like I don't feel 60, almost 61, but I think it's that mental, like I can remember the day my dad turned 40. And I remember thinking, wow, my dad's really getting old, So it's the younger people that think, the number is old. Oh, they're 60. But yeah, I never.
So
I
much
think
more
the
like
older you get, the less you.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't feel it. In fact, I tell people all the time, I am way healthier right now at almost 61 than I was in my 40s. By far.
wow.
For sure, without a doubt.
Wow.
Work out
How many-
more, eat better.
How did you get introduced to this program?
So that was through a friend of mine, that one that's lost 60 pounds or 58 pounds like 9 years ago or something. Um, she would always say to me, Lauren, you should health coach. Like, you're a nurse, you don't have to be medical, but you're a nurse, so you obviously like people a little bit, right? And you're compassionate, hopefully, although I don't know all the time. And you love nutrition. I taught nutrition in college. I taught nursing in college, and then I teach. And at that time I was working full time. So I probably told her no 15 times. And then finally I'm like, okay, I'll watch the Explore coaching video. I'll watch it. I promise. I'll watch it today. I'll watch it as soon as I get home. So I watched it and I'm like, So then I met up with her for lunch. I'm like, I could totally rock that. I could do that. And so I left her and I came home. I remember telling my husband, now this was 5 years ago, but I remember saying, it'll be fun. If I made $50, it's an extra tank of gas or an extra outfit or something, right? It's just a little side hustle. So I said, okay, I'll do it. And I started working it around my full-time job. And within 2.5 years, now this was COVID time, right? When everybody was scared, wanted to get healthy, but I had almost tripled my salary.
Oh,
Wow.
And so I retired almost 3 years.
that's
And
awesome.
so now, for 3 years now, almost, I've just been, like today I met somebody for lunch and I went to Pilates and I do work. I work, it takes work. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you don't have to build relationships and brand yourself and get known and whatever. You do. But ultimately, to me, and I say this about my students all the time too, but if you can just develop relationships, ultimately, when people want help, they'll remember you, right? I used
Really
to
cool.
always say, how do you teach high schoolers or how do you teach college age? And I would say it's not hard. If you respect them and they know you genuinely care about them, they will return it. It's not hard. It's really not hard. Same thing I feel like with, when I'm on social media, when I post something, I usually ask myself, will this bring value to someone, even if they want nothing to do with health or losing weight or whatever, right? That's why my posts are encouraging, or my grandchildren, but they also have to know I do something in health or I don't have a brand. So it's kind of that balance, excuse me, between all of those things. But if I can just not strive and just go back to the basics and always know it's always about the relationships. Clients will get healthy when clients are ready to get healthy and not before. I could beg people, oh my gosh, you should do my program, like you blah blah blah. No. What would you guys do? That would be like a sales pitch. It would be like, you would turn me off right away. So it doesn't work like that, but you just have to recognize that and just really genuinely care about people, or have coffee, or I remember coming over to your spa, and I remember I have notes in my notes under your name. I have tons of notes as I'm typing, oh, they do this and the float and all of that, because then I know I'm not going to remember it. So then now I know it's like, oh, somebody mentioned looking for the float thing. Oh, Alicia, and because I remember I did refer somebody over there. I think I told you, but I don't even remember what it was about. It was the float.
I think
so. It's just that kind of stuff. And I'm blessed to be able to just wake up. I still am pretty hard on myself. I still really stay structured, or if, like my middle daughter, like free spirit is tattooed on her body.
Oh.
So, and I'm pretty hippie-ish, but I'm pretty structured. Let's put it that way, right? My little wraps and all my
structured hippie.
A structured hippie. So she knows, unless it's an emergency, she cannot just say, hey, mom, you want to go on a road trip with me today? Because I'm going to have my whole day planned. She knows, I know when I'm going to keep Soul for the next few months when she needs me. And it's very rarely that she asks me ever. So I love it when she asks me, but I have it in red in my calendar because of course I will always plan this around my priorities, you know, my grandkids, my kids, my family. But I have a hard time when, you know, it's just like
Being
drop
spontaneous.
everything and go. Although I can, you know, I can rearrange everything and say, oh, not coming to that, not going to that networking, not going to do that. But it is nice. The freedom is nice.
That's
Well,
great.
I'm so glad that we got to hear all of that because I guess I definitely didn't realize all, you know, all the different aspects of, especially how deep it got psychologically. I really enjoyed that. So, you know, that was educational for me. Julie clearly had several epiphanies.
Yeah.
I love that tire one.
That.
And having the engine, you can't just run on the engine, you need the tires, you need it all, because that so goes into sleep, motion, stress, right? I mean, all the things, because you need it all. You absolutely need all of that to really, because it's not just about the weight, it's about health, it's about being healthy. So, yeah, for sure. Loved it. Enjoyed every minute, ladies.
And
Yes,
that's
I
what I
hope
tell
you
my clients too. Oops, sorry. Go ahead, Julie.
say, I hope you come back sometime because I feel like I have more to ask you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And if you guys know of anyone that, not just people looking to lose weight, people looking to just find themselves again, people looking for finances or freedom in their time, they're locked down to a job, maybe busy mamas that want to stay home, but they can't. Anybody can coach with me. It's apprenticeship style chain. I'll train them how to coach, right? But mainly just, you know, if you hear of people, they have, you know, they've been diagnosed with prediabetes or whatever, or, you know, somebody that's just looking for, they can't lose that last 10 pounds or they can't lose the 100 pounds or whatever. I mean, I help people in every state. I mean, it's not like I have to be here, you know, in person. We do this, you know, I'll meet them on a Zoom or we'll be on the phone or, you know, I have people in California. I had people in New York City. You know, so definitely get the word
Awesome.
out there. So, all
Thank
right.
God for the internet. Anyway, yes, thank you very much. And we'll have to have you back so that Julie can get all her questions out.
Get all her questions out.
Yes, yes, yes. And please Google Lauren Collins Touma, right?
Yeah.
We'll be surprised. So thanks for joining. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful night.
Bye, guys.